fellow book lovers. This will be my first book review, and it is on Gayle Forman's I Was Here. I think it is the right one. So, Gayle Forman also wrote If I Stay and Where She Went. Here is some praise for the book by Stephen Chbosky, the author of Perks of Being a Wildflower. I Was Here is a pitch-perfect blend of mystery, tragedy, and romance. Gayle Forman has given us an unflinchingly honest portrait of the bravery it takes to live after a devastating loss. So this book is about the main character is, well, I'd say there's actually two main characters. One is Cody, which is a description of the book, and the other is Meg. I regret to inform you that I have had to take my own life. This decision has been a long time coming and was mine alone to make. I know it will cause you pain, and for that I'm sorry, and please know that I needed to end my own pain. This has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. It's not your fault. Meg. Cody and Meg were inseparable, best friends for life. They knew everything about each other, or Cody thought they did. But how well do you ever really know your best friend? And what you do when they choose to leave you behind? And this is the cover I got. I think I ordered it off Amazon, so I don't know how much it was. But if you bought it in store, it was £7.99. £7.99. I think that's the pound sign. As in the money that England uses. There is 2 trigger warnings I would like to put on this book. One's depression, and the other is suicide, because this book is about suicide. And yes, Meg, the one that commits suicide, does have depression, but so does her mom. And throughout the book, Cody's trying to find out why Meg chose to commit suicide. But it's not till the end when Cody actually finds out from Meg's parents that Meg was suffering from depression. I do like the fact that she covered a darker subject matter and something most all people have to deal with, especially since it's a young adult book. It gives the teen and young adult readers a chance to see how depression really is and may help them figure they have depression. I will say that Meg's parents were closer to Cody than Cody's parents, but also I believe that with that, Cody was closer to Meg's parents because they spent so much time together, as well, at least Cody's mother didn't spend much time with her, and I'm not sure if it was her mother or stepmother, and I think her father had passed away, so yeah, that's pretty much why Cody was closer to Meg's parents than her mother, stepmother. I can't remember. Other than that, it was a good book. I would say, if I had to put an age on it, I'd say if you're under about 16 or 17, you shouldn't read it because it does go into detail with some very heavy topics other than depression and suicide. So, again, trigger warnings for those of you who find it hard to read about suicide or depression. And this is the only Gayle Forman book I've read so far. Which I know that's so bad. Because she had, I think, like 2 or 3 other ones. Maybe more. But this is the only one I've read. But yeah, it was a good book. I would allow my kids to read it, but I'd pick the age that I'd let them read it at, because there are heavy subjects in here, and I want to make sure, one, they understand that the depression the book is talking about is a health issue, mental health issue, and not just a fleeting emotion. And secondly, that suicide is never the answer. Again, I will repeat that. Suicide is never the answer. So I'd pick, when I'd allow my kids to read this, that I would allow them to read it, because I got a lot out of it at the age I read it at, which I think I was in either, 10th or 11th grade when I read this. But again, I chose when I read it because I knew I had more knowledge on the subjects of suicide and depression in 10th or 11th grade than I did all throughout my schooling, because my high school was they had a decent approach to giving the students' awareness about mental illness and that kind of stuff. And one more time, I'm gonna say this one last time. This does have suicide and depression in it, so trigger warnings for those two things, and suicide is never the answer. It's only a permanent decision for a temporary problem.